Yes. There you go.
Excellent. So I'm going to get started, and for anybody that joins us midway through, fantastic. But those of you that can pick the recording up online afterwards, it will be in the Facebook group, and you'll have every opportunity to answer all the questions and anything that you want to know that comes up during this conversation. So I am delighted to welcome Diane Harrison-Jarrett here of the company, and I've got to get it right. Is it Harmony in Sound?
That's it.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I sound like I'm not sure what Diane's company is, because Diane has gone through her own transformation over the last 3 years that I've known her. So where she is now with her sound healing and her energy healing has been a massive change. And I think that's also come around when menopause was hitting and all of those things. So she's really one of those ladies that has gone through this change and transition in her life and gone, I want to change things. I want to do what I've always wanted to do and always been interested in these things. But I'll get her to tell a bit more of her story, because we are talking about how to harmonize our bodies from the inside out. And I had a lady today say to me, what's this all about? I'm like, well, come and join us and you can find out. So these are monthly webinars. This is actually the November one, which we couldn't do because I was poorly. So we moved it into December, but I usually do monthly webinars through the Phoenix Wellbeing Cafe, and they're also available in my private Facebook group. So I'm going to hand over to Diane, and let me make you co-host, and we'll see how the tech
if we can
works.
do the technology. Right. So share screen, I can do that bit. I know how to do that, and I've got it set up ready. Excellent.
It's always nothing like being ready. There you go.
Can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah. So you can't see my notes or anything, can you? You can just see this. Fabulous. Fab. Right, so just move the little pictures of you lovely people over there. Fabulous. Well, thank you for the warm introduction, Jeanette. And thank you. It's an absolute honour to be presenting to you this evening. As Jeanette said, I've been on a huge journey. My business that I've had for 14 years is actually in utilities, commercial and residential utilities. So you couldn't get further removed from 2 different business levels. But I've really stepped into my truth. I've really stepped into my divine space with this business. And although it's only been a short journey so far, about 3-4 years, I am absolutely loving it. So I'll tell you a little bit about me and about why I've done what I've done. Why's that moving? There we go. So I'll tell you a little bit about my story, so you can see how I got where I am today and why I'm doing what I'm doing, and also why sound specifically and why it resonates with me. I think when you become a therapist of any kind, when you're helping somebody like Jeanette or myself or somebody else you may even already talk to and you may resonate with, it's very much a heart-centered business. And I think it's really nice to get an idea of people's history and where they've come from. Jeanette's done a very brief introduction to that already. So I'll give you a bit of a high level overview of sound, because sound itself is quite complex. My training was over 100 hours and it took me a year. And I've done some in-house training for 4 weekends in London. But I'll give you a high level overview of what sound is and how you can use it. I'll give you some top tips, some general health and wellness tips, which you may have heard through Jeanette's monthly programs anyway, but it's always nice to have a bit of a recap, sorry. And then I'll focus on a few things specifically for menopause. I've got a few props here to show you as well. Not my big sound bowls because they're too large, but I've got a few bits to show you. At the end of the call, there's a couple of bits I'm going to recommend to you. If you want to get them through Jeanette and I, that's absolutely fine. If you have somebody that does something similar and you want to get it through them, that's fine as well. My goal for this evening is to get you on board maybe with 1 or 2 good habits that you can start to introduce into your daily life now. If you do that through us, fab. If you do it through somebody else, as long as you do it, that's the main thing. And that's what I really want to get across. And then at the end, I will stop for some questions in case you've got any. So why alternative therapies? Well, as women specifically, and especially if you've got families as well, we take on various stresses every single day. We run around like headless chickens. We run a home, we run a family, a lot of us work. And actually, with the cost of living and what's happening in the world now, some people are actually working more than one job as well. So the pressure on the physical body is absolutely massive. And what actually tends to happen over a period of time, although it's not completely obvious, is that stress internalizes itself in the physical body and actually in the outer body, which I'll talk about in a minute as well. It can go undetected, months, days, years, months, doesn't matter. And then one day, bang, something will happen, something will pop, and your body will go into a bit of a hissy fit, and you'll go into what we call dis-ease. The word disease, as we know it in modern day terms, actually comes from the word dis-ease, which means it's a dis-ease, a discordant frequency of the body. And that's where the word comes from. And you'll go to the doctor and you'll say, oh, I've got this problem. And he'll say, no problem. I've got a pill for that. The problem with society now, and you may have touched it on it previously, Jeanette, in your other groups, is that as a society, we've kind of come away from the responsibility of looking after our own health and wellness. You go to the doctor and he says, I've got a pill for that. The NHS are fabulous. I've used them. I think we've all had a need in our lives where we've had to call on the NHS. You kind of hope you never want to, you never need to, but when they're there and you need to use them, they are fabulous. But from a day-to-day perspective, we've come away from owning our own health and wellness. And I think one of the good things about COVID has been that post-COVID, people have actually started to be aware of that a lot more. And I know, Jeanette, you work with corporates around that as well. So we need to kind of come away from that we've got a pill for everything scenario and take ownership of our bodies, our health and wellness, and come away from what I call the quick fix scenario. Quick fix with a pill, move on to being busy again. Because what actually happens with medication is it doesn't actually fix the root cause of the problem, it masks it. And then you might have one ailment and you'll get a pill for that and it will mask it, and then you'll carry on being busy. And then maybe a few years down the line, something else will crop up, you'll get another pill for that. And you start to build up a toxic overload. And some people I know, they rattle when they walk because they take so much medication. And what that's actually doing is the body, I'll onto the next slide in a sec, I'll show you a picture, but the body's got lots of neural networks. And if you block those neural networks, think of a water pipe. If you've got a blockage in your water pipe, the water comes out where it shouldn't, or it leaks, or it just blocks and doesn't come out at all. And at a cellular level, what that does is it actually causes the cell to physically break down, and then the cell itself becomes diseased as well. And I think what we need to do as a society is take ownership of our own health and wellness to improve those connections in the body so that the body can communicate with itself more effectively, because actually left alone, the human body is an amazing tool and it can actually fix itself. And a lot of the symptoms that we get from illness, disease, menopause, flus and colds wouldn't actually be as bad had we have actually just given ourselves that space and time just to be. And that's where sound and frequencies come in. The other thing to say is as well, a little bit political, but sound's been around for 8,000 years, still used in Chinese herbal medicine. It's used in South America in the Aboriginal tribes and things like that. Pharmaceuticals have been around for 180 years only. And actually pharmaceuticals as an industry, as a sector, is the most profitable in the world. And there is an element of follow the money, follow the motive. Whilst your personal GP that you may go visit absolutely 100% cares about your health and wellness. My GP is amazing. As a rule, the sector doesn't necessarily care for your health and wellness as much as they should. So for me, sound actually gets in at a cellular level and fixes the body from the inside out. So I know it works because I've been through my own journey with it as well, which I'll touch on in a second. So we've got the physical body, as I mentioned earlier on. That's your body, your skin, your bones, your muscles, your organs, the bits you can pinch and touch. Then you've got those neurons, those networks. Some people call them meridians. There's about 800 or so meridians in the body as a whole. And the meridians are where those neuro pathways cross. It's the crossing points, energetic points, as I call them. And I'll talk a little bit about those in a minute. But basically, it's where the body interacts with the energy centers. And most people, either on this call or listening to the call, will know about the chakras of the body. So you've got your crown right down to your root. There's 7 there, but there's actually 2 above it, and there's also 2 below it as well. But they're not really spoken about so much in outside of the sound industry. Then you've got the bioenergetic field, the electromagnetic field that sits outside of the human body. You can't see it unless you're a trained practitioner. You can't feel it, but you can kind of feel it. If you walk into a room, let's say you're going to buy a house, or you walk into a room and you're at a party, and you walk into that room, and within 10 seconds, you either get that really good uplifting feel, or you kind of draw back and go, oh, I don't know about the energy in this room. This feels a bit weird. That's all of those electromagnetic fields pulsating with each other, and they either match or they don't. So the fields are there, but we just don't necessarily see them. Like an onion, those fields are made of multiple layers. The closer into the physical body you are is the most recent layers that you're emitting. And then the ones, they sit about 6 to 8 foot outside of the human body, outside of your physical body. They'd be your oldest ones. So I had a childhood trauma when I was 6. So my childhood trauma in my electromagnetic field would sit outside of my physical body. And so it's about 6 to 8 feet. And that holds all of that emotional memory and emotional trauma in that physical body and in the outer body. Any disorder, any discordant pathway will actually stop the body from sending those signals through. So normally what would happen is if you've got dis-ease, a signal would go round to the relevant part of that body, and it would then send healing to that body. But energetically, it could be blood flow, it could be nitric oxide, whatever it might be. And it will send that signal and it will send that healing to where it needs to be. But if you've got a blockage, that signal can't go through, and therefore the body can't heal itself naturally. A good example of that would be, I mentioned it just there, nitric oxide. So nitric oxide is a natural gas that's found at a cellular level. It's actually in the outer skin of the cells. And what this does is it acts as the kind of barrier between the physical body and the cell, and it stops invasion, as I call it. So when a virus comes in or an antibody that shouldn't be there, the nitric oxide stops it from entering that cell. Now, the nitric oxide is really important to the human body because what the human body does, and it is fascinating, but what the human body does is it puffs in cycles. So for the nitric oxide to work correctly, it puffs in 12-minute cycles. So 6 minutes on, like a little door, so that it will flood the body with nitric oxide for 6 minutes, and then it will starve it for 6 minutes. On, off, and it does it every day. You don't even know. So if your neuropaths and your pathways are working correctly, that puffs on and off all day long. But if you've got a blockage, it will either starve the body of nitric oxide and it will leave it off. It will flood the body and leave it permanently on, or it will interfere with when that opens and closes. So you might get 2 minutes of one and 6 minutes of another, then 3 minutes of one and 5 minutes of another. And what it does, it actually affects the oxygen going into that cell as well. So that can affect things like your blood pressure. It can affect neurological disorders in the brain, and we could be here forever talking about nitric oxide. So that's why it's really important that those pathways are kept really, really clear, because you want to keep that balance in at a cellular level, get my teeth in, and make sure that those cells can fight the disease and the infections that do come in from day-to-day life. So with menopause, there's a number of things that you can do specifically. Jeanette would have covered all of the obvious ones, and actually we were just talking offline about a couple of them. Eating really, really well, key cellular level nutrition is absolutely essential. Getting really good quality sleep. I know a lot of people, not me personally, I'm really lucky with sleep, but a lot of my clients have problems with sleep. So sleep's really important. I'm actually a bit of a witch if I don't get any sleep. And exercise. My husband did agree with you actually on that one. And then exercise is really important. That's something Jeanette and I were talking about earlier. I've just been started doing lots of walking, getting outside, getting fresh air in nature and so on. But for me, the things that have really made a profound difference in my own personal experiences is sound and frequency. Now, I think it's important to say, Jeanette will know this, but maybe other people not so much. Menopause is a natural phase of our lives. It should be a beautiful metamorphosis from one phase to another phase. And it should be enjoyed, and it should be embodied, and it should be celebrated. The problem we have with modern day life is we have all of these influences, negative news, lack of sleep, bad nutrition, bad diet, no exercise, dehydrated, and I can go on and on and on. And what that does is that interferes with those neurons so that the body can't connect with itself properly, and it then starts affecting you on a day-to-day level. Medication is another one that will overload the body, contaminated water, contaminated food. And with sound, you can actually correct a lot of that. So that's why I love sound. So meditation is one of the things that's really helped me in my journey over the last 3 or 4 years. And aromatherapy oils is another thing. Jeanette and I have had a few chats about those. And meditation and oils have been key to better sleep and keeping you calm from the inside out, and keeping the brain and the body, because obviously they're linked, from the inside out. I know everyone's really busy. And when I talk to people about meditation, my husband included, I don't have time for that. I'm too busy for that. No, you have to make time for yourself. You have to prioritize yourself, because as busy women, and some of us mums and people that are responsible for other people, have to make time for themselves, because if we're not here, it doesn't work. And when I realized that a few years ago, I actually started putting myself first. If you'd have said to me, Diane, in 3 years' time, you'll be meditating 5 days a week for 35 to 45 minutes a day, I would have laughed at you. I don't do it quite so much now, because obviously I do my forks and my bowls and everything else, and that in itself is a meditation. But at one point I was meditating that much to keep myself calm from the inside out. So if you don't do anything as a result of this call tonight, or anyone listening, put yourself first. Absolutely 100% put yourself first. And start with a little bit of meditating. Okay, even if you just do 10 minutes a day, 3 times a week, just do something. Doesn't have to cost anything. Doesn't have to cost anything either, because you can go onto YouTube, you can type in 10-minute meditation, guided meditation, if you can't do it yourself physically. When you're trained,
because you must have seen my YouTube search.
Oh, you look at my
guided abundance meditation, guided health meditation,
talking to angels, singing with sound bowls. What was the other one I did the other day? Oh yes, there's a lady I follow that does sound bowl singing, and I find it really therapeutic.
But YouTube is really good as well, because not only do you can get guided meditations, but they will have the frequency music on there as well. So if you want something for your root chakra, you can do root chakra frequency, and it will give you the kilohertz, and it will give you, those are the ones where it looks like a 3-hour, and I was like, oh god, that's a long meditation. It's not. You just listen to it. You just listen to the bit you need.
Absolutely. So go onto YouTube, chuck in 10-15 minute guided meditation, and you'll get an abundance. Just pick the one where the sound and the voice resonates with you, and just do it. That's one of my biggest tips, is just make time for yourself. If you struggle with the meditation side, and it is a bit of a muscle memory thing, it does take probably a month, maybe 6 weeks to kind of get into the flow, you can use some tuning forks. So I've got one here. I won't play it because you won't hear it necessarily through the Zoom, but this is a weighted tuning fork. So it's got 2 weights at the end, and when you bang one, they vibrate with each other. And that vibration, when it's held up to the ear, actually is singing to me. It's playing like a little hum in the background. Now this one is the tuning fork. So this is the one I would recommend. You're nodding away, so you know what this one is. This one is tuned to 136.1 hertz. And that's really important because 136.1 is the first ever recorded frequency of the Earth. Okay. And what that means is it's the closest connection to source. Call it what you like, source, God, universe, whatever. But it is the closest connection. So when you play this, and all you would do is literally just hold it to your ear, and you'll hear it and you can hum to it. And because it's weighted, it gives a slightly longer tone than the non-vibroacoustic, which is the one here that hasn't got the little weights on the end. So this is a really good way. Strike it, play it on each ear, maybe do it 3 times, and just focus on that sound and really focus into it. And what that will do is it will give the mind something to think about that's not your shopping or your dog grooming or the painting you've got to do at the weekend or driving your kids around playing taxi. It will allow you just to focus in the moment. And that's a really nice way of doing a meditation. The thing also with any tuning fork, but specifically one like this that does the is the itself. You've got 86 or 87 meridian points in the roof of your mouth. You can't access them any other way apart from singing, talking, and humming. So when you play this tuning fork in your ear, you hum to it, and you'll be like, the end note of that is a noise, and it's the noise that is actually the closest frequency to that of Earth and the closest sound to that of Earth. So again, this will get you connected with source, and it's a really nice thing to do because you can hum anywhere, right? You can set yourself, here's a little target for you. Next time you stop at traffic lights or roadworks, because there's not many of them around at the minute, give yourself a little hum. Just sit there and go, and your body will instantly actually reduces your blood pressure. These meridian points in the roof of your mouth will help to reduce your blood pressure, which is great. Helps to reduce the busyness, what I call it's known as the monkey mind, the busyness of the mind. And it's something really simple that anyone can do. So meditation. And if you struggle with the meditation, you don't like the guided meditation, get yourself a tuning fork. I can get them for you. And I don't make any money out of the tuning forks. I just do it because I want to step into my divine space. So I can get you a tuning fork if you need it. Get yourself tuned up, get yourself humming. Everyone will think you're a complete loon. I walk around the co-op singing and humming all the time, and I get lots and lots of little giggles and strange looks. The other thing I would do is, as I've said before, prioritize yourself, make time for yourself, okay? Because as I said, we all run around doing everything for everyone else. If we're not here, nothing works, everything falls apart. This world would not look as it does if it wasn't for us women. And I don't mean that detrimentally. There are some fab men out there as well. But get yourself a really good sound therapist in your area. Binder, I don't know where you are, and obviously other people that might be listening to this later on. But get yourself a really good sound therapist, maybe somebody that does a monthly, so it's not a huge commitment, maybe an hour and a half a month, and get yourself into a really nice sound bath. Because what a sound bath does, if the practitioner's trained, and I'll come on to that in a second, what the sound bath does is it envelopes the body with all of these different frequencies, and what it allows that neuron system to do is to unblock those static kind of like blockages and frequencies, the negative energies, and it gets rid of them. I'll tell you a little story as part of my journey. I went on a sound bath, it was last January, and I had a bit of a transcendental experience. So I came out of my physical body, if this resonates with you. I came out of my physical body, went off somewhere into the ether, met one of my guardian angels. I've got 4, 1 female, 3 male. And I met the female one, had a little conversation with her. And then I came back into the room, and Jeanette's heard this story already. I came back into the room and I woke up, and I knew exactly at that point that I was here to help people heal themselves from the inside out with sound. Because sound has been so profound for me in my personal journey. I woke up from that and said, I'm going to be a sound healing therapist. So that's why sound is so important to me, because it's been so instrumental in my healing from the inside out and my journey. So moving on to the therapist side of it. So go to a sound bath, but if you're having one-on-one treatment like I do, make sure that your therapist is properly trained, okay? Anyone can buy a sound bowl, anyone can buy a tuning fork, okay? And anyone can strike it and play it. But there is an art to it, okay? I guess anyone can bake a cake, but you're a master chef or you're not, okay? It's a similar kind of thing. Anyone, I could give my husband a beater and he could probably bang my quartz crystal bowls, or not that I'd let him. But anyone can do it. But when you do it, when you're trained and when you know what you're doing and you're doing it for frequency, what you're doing is you're taking someone on a journey, okay? And when you understand how frequency responds to the body at a cellular level, you understand the purpose of that sound journey. And as I said, for me, it's all about, firstly, relaxing the room. So I will always do a bit of a guided meditation. And then I'll bring in some of the lower ended tuning forks if it's a small number of people. Otherwise, I'll use some small bowls. But I know I've got a couple of dementia patients that I treat on a one-on-one basis who can't rest. Their brain is constantly going round and round and round. And I know that by using 2 particular tuning forks and 2 particular bowls that I've got, they're both tuned to the same frequency. If I play those 2 sets within 17 to 22 minutes, they'll be asleep. Because what happens is, you've got a left and right side of your brain. And when you play these 2 frequencies, it's the equivalent of a C and a G on a piano, if you use that as an example. The right side of the brain goes, well, I'll take the C. And the left side goes, well, I'll take the G. And then it bounces around a bit and tries to work out which one's going to do what. But what actually happens is with these 2 frequencies, it creates a binaural beat as well, a third beat above it, which is equivalent of an E on a piano. And then because you've introduced a third beat, now you physically can't see this, it's done at a frequency vibrational level. The brain then goes, whoa, what do I do with this? Where's this third beat going to go? And it bounces around again for a little bit longer. And then a little bit like a system reset on your mobile phone, it shuts down very safely, obviously. And it's what we call in the industry a lazy man's meditation. And that's what happens with the brain. It puts you into a meditative state, a bit like a beta just before you're going off to sleep, but completely safe. So if you know someone that knows their craft and they know what they're doing, they should be able to get you in a meditative state within about 20 minutes. And I always use those combinations in my sound baths. So if you've got the ability to do it and you've got someone local to you that you trust, check how they're trained, ask them some questions. They won't mind if they've been properly trained and they've invested in themselves and their craft. They won't mind answering those questions. So get yourself some one-on-one sound sessions or a group session at least once a month, and give yourself that space and time. And you can combine what I do when I do the one-on-one sessions or couples sessions as well. I combine some oils with it. There's a number of oils you can use with menopause, which I'll go through some of them in a second. But I use, if I'm doing a sound bath with either a single person or a couple, I'll use wild orange, which actually I haven't got here, I didn't pick it up. Wild orange. And what I do is I just put it on the hand neat with a bit of peppermint. And then I run it over the top of the client's head and nasal passage. It smells absolutely divine. But what it does is it goes in at a cellular level, and actually when you inhale it really deeply, you can feel all your brain cells fuzzing a little bit. It feels like they're having a bit of a firework party. So you can use the oils actually to have the similar effect on the brain, but to bring it down with something like a lavender, as an example. So oils with sound works really, really, really well. And then there's bioenergetics. Bioenergetics is where, and there's not many people in the UK that do this. I'm going off to Dubai next year to do some training on bioenergetics, because bioenergetics has been a major part of my own journey, which I'll tell you about in a sec. But bioenergetics basically looks at those meridian crossovers. So it actually looks at the main 12, because the main 12 that you've got 800 odd in your body, but there's 12 main ones, like major crossover points. Your chakras also would be another 7 or 9 if you do the up and the down. But what it does is each of those crossover points should operate at 50 hertz. Okay, now if you tell most sound people this, they'll go, what? It should operate at 50 hertz. But because of all the things I've mentioned earlier on with regards to medication, trauma, disease, it could be an emotional trauma, it could be a separation, you've lost a loved one, something like that. All of those things have an effect on your internal and your external energy and vibration. And what that does then is it alters that 50 hertz frequency. So when I started my bioenergetics journey, one of my lymph node crossover points was at -9, and another one was at +70. Now at -9, they said to me that could be irreparable, but we'll give it a go and we'll see if we can get it to 30 or 40. We've done a good job. By doing the bioenergetics testing and then using plant medicine to physically correct the frequency of those neuro points, I've now completely reversed 98% of my menopause symptoms, and I've completely reversed 3 of my trauma symptoms that I had from when I was traumatized as a child. So basically, when I was 6, I was held up in an armed robbery with my family, and it wasn't dealt with. We weren't given counselling or anything. We woke up the following morning and my parents carried on like nothing had ever happened, which was kind of what they did in those days, right? It was in like the late 70s. So what actually happened is my body manifested that negative energy every day, every week, every month for about 5 years. And then from the age of about 10 or 11, I started developing panic attacks. I had hypoglycemic sugar levels. I developed really, really chronic IBS. And I thought, because these symptoms occurred from a pretty young age, that actually was just how my body was. I didn't realise at that point that was all trauma related, and that was all to do with the discordant frequencies in my body where the neuro pathways weren't connecting properly, because there was blockages everywhere, emotional and physical blockages. Over the last year, I've been correcting those frequencies with bioenergetics, and we've got it, as I say, we're about 43 and 54 on the two different scales. And my menopause, in fact, Mike and I were talking, my husband, were talking last night. He was out with some friends and they're all of a similar age. All their partners are going through menopause now. And he actually turned around and said, do you know what? He said, apart from the witch day, which is the Sunday before my cycle starts, he said, I wouldn't know my wife is menopausal anymore. She's completely reversed everything, all through health and wellness and plant medicine. And that's what I want to be able to do for this community, because if we can get all of us women running around happier people, the world would be a much nicer place. And also we would be happier from the inside out as well. So if you want to explore bioenergetics, just message me at the end. I'll put my details in the chat, and I'll give it verbally in the Q&A at the end as well. Get on my newsletter. I only send out 1 email a month. I don't bog people down with lots and lots of emails, because we all get bombarded with emails on a daily basis. But I'll be talking a little bit about the bioenergetics into next year. If you're Kent based, I do know somebody that does it now. It's the chap that I'm training with, so I could connect you with him if it's something you want to have a look at. But it is amazing, and I absolutely swear by it. I can't wait to be a bioenergetics practitioner. So for menopause, I mentioned, obviously, you've got the meditation, you've got the tuning forks if you want to do that. Yeah, and I mentioned oils. The other thing I would also do, and I know Jeanette does this, is journaling. Finish your day, start or finish, doesn't matter. Start or finish your day with a positive. You're bombarded every single day in the news with negativity. What you don't actually probably realise is that the music that you listen to on the radio is recorded at 430 hertz, but your aura operates at 432. So there's a constant bombardment of a 0.2 of a hertz discordant frequency surrounding you 24/7. So start your day, and this really transformed me as well, with a positive. Just even if it's just, you know what, I wrote in my book today, I'm here, I turned up, or I've woke up and I'm healthy. And just do it every day for 30 days and it will absolutely transform your perception of life from the inside out. Yeah. But what you can do is oils. So my favourite one, and this is the one that, where is it? Here it is. This is the one that my husband likes because it's saved my family life and my marriage. It's called Whisper, which is this little one here. This is what I call the witch blend. So that 1 or 2 days where I have no tolerance whatsoever for anyone.
I need that for every day of the year.
I'll send you one, Jeanette. I'll send you one. Whisper is brilliant because actually what it does, there's a lot of science behind these oils. Don't buy the ones you get in like Holland and Barrett and stuff like that.
No good.
They are not food grade. Everything that we're talking about, toxins, and we're talking about getting yourself healthy from the inside out. You've got to make sure that everything that goes on your body, in your body and on your skin, because that permeates into your bloodstream in less than a minute, is food grade, so that you're reducing the toxins that are coming in on a regular basis. So Whisper actually blends with the pheromones of your body, and it actually changes and works with the pheromones, and it is amazing. I only use it for a couple of days, so this little bottle will probably last you a year, if not longer. So that's one. I'm just going to move my little thing so I can't see my notes here now. Then you've got Clary Calm.
My favourite.
Do you like this one? So this,
yeah, love this one.
This has got sage, clary sage. It's a blend.
Sage. I love sage.
I use sage in my sound bath.
My sage block.
Love sage. I burn it in the house all the time.
That's my new one that I haven't started burning yet. So
you want to? Yeah,
I cannot wait for that one. Yeah,
I absolutely love my sage. I burn it all.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to business. So clary sage is a really nice one. Now this is a blend for soothing, calming, and balancing your hormones. You can use this. This is a daily one. You can inhale it, so you can pop a couple of drops in your hand, rub it together, give it 2 or 3 really nice deep belly sniffs, and get it up into the cells of the brain. There is a touch version as well, so you can just pop it on your pulse points. That's a really nice one just to put on every single day. Lavender is another one. Now I have some people that say to me, "Oh, I don't like lavender," which some of my clients don't like lavender.
Put it on your feet.
Yes, I know you can put it on your feet. You can put it behind your knees. You can put it behind your ears.
Yep.
But actually, lavender, I don't use it very much because, as I said, I don't have a problem with sleeping. I'm really lucky. But when the nights I really can't sleep, when I've got 1,000,001 things going around in my head, 3 drops of that on the palms of the hands, and I can feel it all going up into my brain, and I'm asleep like that. So that's a really nice one. And lavender, I'm all for using multiple things with your oils. You don't just have like a big block of oils and they all have one purpose each. Lavender's really good for skin healing. You can use it on dogs for anxiety. Obviously, speak to me about dilution, but you can use it on dogs. It's completely safe in the right quantities. And what was the other thing you can use it for? Anxiety. So if you've got anyone that's bipolar, my son who's autistic, you can use it for anxiety and obviously for sleep as well. So the lavender is a really good staple one to have in your pot. And then you've got balance. Have I done balance? Now balance. There we go. So balance is a bit like your clary sage. You can use this one. I use this one for the week running up to my cycle, just to keep the hormones balanced. So it takes the waves from this to this, and it just helps to keep the levels a bit lower. So they would be the ones I would recommend. And wild orange is for your
Orange is
afternoon
lovely.
slump. Yeah, I love.
It's a great
Not that I'm
positively
saying
lifting.
you should. Not that I'm saying you should do it, but it's very nice in a gin as well. If you've got a nice plain gin, because it's food grade.
Yes.
Right. Obviously the occasional gin, but because it's food grade, you can put it in your
one
gin.
a day.
Yeah, occasional every hour. But with a lot of, because these are all food grade, you can actually consume a lot of them. There are a couple you can't, but again, speak to me if you're not sure. But yeah, wild orange is brilliant for gin. Lovely. It's brilliant for water. I put it in my water because I don't like water plain, but I can drink it if it's got something in it. So citrus bliss or wild orange is brilliant for that. But it's really good. I did an event a few weeks ago, like a Christmas fair at my daughter's school, and at 2:00 in the afternoon, all the stall holders were like this, and I was running around with my wild orange, going, "Oh, have a sniff of that."
I was just going to say, so I'm going to just disappear because I've got a little bag of my own oils. I was going to see if
Come
I've
on,
got wild
grab
orange.
them. Go on, quick, go grab them. And then one thing I'm doing, because what have you got in there?
No, I'm just going to see.
What you got?
I've got.
Are they doTERRA?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've got cotton blossom tangerine.
Yes, lovely.
Tangerine is lovely.
That's citrusy, so that's an uplift.
This is an abundance blend that you can put.
So it's a grounding one. Yeah.
Yeah. What's this one? Jasmine white tea.
Lovely. I love that.
French lavender.
Yeah, French lavender. Nice.
Eucalyptus, lavender and mint.
Yeah, so actually that one's really good for blockages. If you've got your colds and things, you can put it on your.
Yeah, that's how I need to be doing that. Yeah.
Put it on your pillow, anything like that. Yeah, you can diffuse it. That's really nice to diffuse as well, that one.
Clary sage. There's not much of that in there. Oh, I've still got more. What have I got here? Peppermint.
Peppermint. Right, so blend your peppermint with your wild orange.
Yeah, I've got 2 peppermints. Lovely. I obviously like that.
Peppermint's nice. Peppermint's nice in water as well.
I like this one. Bergamot.
Bergamot, yeah. That's
I usually do bergamot and clary sage.
Yeah, perfect. Nice little blend. Nice little blend.
And I've got in my office, I've got a diffuser.
Yeah.
So I tend to use them in there. I've got frankincense somewhere as well.
Oh, frankincense is amazing. So
I like frankincense, and I use that with lavender. So I put frankincense on my wrist points and lavender on my toes, on the balls of my feet.
If ever you get any kind of like post like workout tension in your muscles, frankincense and deep blue. Deep blue and frankincense is amazing because the frankincense works on the pain. Deep blue works on the muscular relief. Yeah. And it works on that kind of lactic acid side of things. Anyway, so back to
sorry.
It's all right. We talk about oils.
Where are they?
So these are the oils I would recommend. I would only recommend doTERRA as a brand. As I say, you can get them through Jeanette and I, or if you know somebody that is a doTERRA consultant, please go speak to them as well. But I will only use doTERRA because they're food grade. And I know that what you're putting in your body is not going to overload and intoxicate your body, because we want to get rid of some of that. Because meditation for me has been a key part of my recovery, if you like, into my new divine self. One thing I'm doing from January, and if you sign up to my newsletter, you'll get the link and everything for it, is I'm launching Meditation Monday. It's completely free, just for 15 minutes from 8:45 to 9.
Perfect.
Yeah. And I'm just going to be doing a guided meditation with a bit of breathing for 10-15 minutes, so we can start the week nice and calm as we mean to go on. So if you want to sign up for that, it's a completely free service, me just putting it back out there into the universe and saying thank you. So let me know if you want to do that. Missed a bit. Right. So with regards to the oils, if you haven't, for anyone listening back on the recording, and also for Binda, if you're new to oils, I've put together a couple of little packs with a bit of a discount, which you can get through Jeanette and I. So the starter kit would be the tuning fork, which I've mentioned earlier on.
Yep.
There you go. It's a bit blurry.
I like that tuning fork.
The tuning fork's lovely. I use this all the time in my one-to-ones. And actually I use it for my son as well, who's autistic. So a tuning fork, the Clary Calm, which is, I've got my glasses on, that one. The little Clary Calm, which is one of Jeanette's favourites. and the wild orange for the uplifting of the mood. That's a pack for 124. But if you have got a bit bigger budget and you want to go for a proper pack like Jeanette's just got out of her office,
I don't know, I've collected those over a while. I bet it's a lot more money than that.
I think my initial kit was
frightening amount,
like 300 quid or something initially. But I'm really big, as I said, you know, I'm really big on finding multiple uses for these oils. I've managed to medicate my family on a daily basis for most things with oils. And actually now, Mike and the kids will come up to me and say, Mummy, can you make me one of your witch's potions? I've got a sore throat, or I've got this, or I've got that. But you know, it's brilliant because I'm actually teaching the future generation that actually they don't need to pop a pill. They don't need then their ibuprofen or their Nurofen. Or there is sometimes, you know, when I get a hormonal headache, on the odd occasion, not very often, but on the odd occasion, I will need an ibuprofen to knock it on its head because nothing else works. But I'll always try these babies first. So if you've got a slightly bigger budget and you want to go full in with the oils, then you get all of those in that kit there. So you've got Whisper, which is the witch's blend, as I call it. That's my witch day blend. You get the Clary Sage. You get the touch version. This, I've got the oil here, but you'll get the touch version with the roller. And then you'll get the lavender and you'll get the balance with the tuning fork. And I throw in a wild orange for free. And that's 187.75. So if you're interested in those, get them from me, get them from someone else. It's absolutely fine either way. So I think that might be everything.
Excellent.
Yeah. Any questions?
Fantastic.
I know I've covered quite a bit, but
I mean, I found that fascinating. I love all of this stuff, and I have to for Binder as well. I am reading the most fantastic book, which is called Becoming Supernatural.
Oh,
Dr. Joe, and I can never get his surname right. I think it's Pinzosa.
Oh, that's an unusual one.
He talks about frequency because our bodies are energy.
Absolutely.
And it talks about how you change your frequencies so that you can level out the brain waves. He talks about, rather than disease
and the beta and stuff like that.
He talks about coherence.
Yes.
And needing to get that. It's absolutely fascinating. And alongside meditation, there's an awful lot about quantum physics, which I thought would be like, yay, up here somewhere above my head.
Done in the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just find it fascinating. I will, in the Facebook group or on a message, I'll give you the name of the book.
Yeah.
I bought that book plus 2 of his other ones in a job lot on Amazon.
Yeah.
And it is so fascinating to read. And I read it at night, and you would think it would wake me up, but it puts me into a meditative state. Since starting to read it, I sleep like a baby.
So this is actually an ebook. So I actually got it printed out at my local printers, but it's called Vibrational Sound Healing by Erica Longdon.
Pop it in the group.
And that is really amazing. Probably a little bit more for practitioners, and Jeanette, you'd probably find it really interesting, but it talks about, you know, all the different therapies of sound, you know, V for voice, M for H for humming, you know, all of the different, B for bowls, you know, all the T for tuning forks. And it goes through all of the different, it calls it vitamins, the alphabet of the vitamins of sound. But the intro part of it talks about the frequencies and the energies and how they're all intertwined. And it is, I could read it all day long, quite frankly. It is amazing. So that's a really good one. If you just want to pick up some of those hints and tips from a layman's point of view, that's a really nice one to get started with. John Boulay or Bailu, he talks about specifically tuning forks. So if you want to get into tuning forks a bit more, I'll give it to you.
If you pop some,
here it is.
Pop a post.
You know that human tuning.
Okay.
John, it's French. Beaulieu. But that's a really
What I would say, Diane, really tomorrow in the Phoenix Facebook group, pop a post with some of these recommendations.
Yeah, okay.
and I'll approve it so that it's out there for people.
Okay, fab.
Yeah.
And then if anyone wants to contact me personally and have a chat with me about oils or just about frequency, if you want to find out about bioenergetics and where you can get treated right now and start your Hertz therapy journey, you can email me directly, enquiries@harmonyinsound.co.uk. We'll pop that on the chat as well tomorrow. And you can email me from my website, which is www.harmonyinsound.co.uk. So nice and easy. But I'm always open to just having a chat with people if they've just got some questions and they just want to fix themselves for something. I had a really interesting chat with a lady the other day. Actually, it's in our business network. You might even know her. Oh my God, she's got so much going on. And I said to her, just pick 3, just pick the top 3, and we'll just do those to start with. Because more often than not, what you find is, and I actually found it with my bioenergetics work, is that when you start clearing some of those networks, those crossover and meridian points, it actually has a positive effect on some of the others. So some of my others have actually reduced or increased. I've not actually touched them, but it's because of the other energies that are sitting within the field has actually had a positive or negative impact on them.
I'm sitting here thinking about one of my clients that would actually really benefit from the sound healing. Because she struggles to relax. On the go all the time. Let me get my hands on her.
Let me get my hands on her.
And I mean, I use meditation when I'm coaching. And actually,
very powerful.
We tend to do meditation, and sometimes there are some really emotional reactions to points in the meditation. So then we dip into it. But she would definitely benefit from working with you.
Well, I could do it. I could do the bowls and the tuning forks on her, like I do with my dementia ladies.
She finds it really, she finds it really uncomfortable. She doesn't, when I say to her about meditation, sitting calmly, closing her eyes, she just feels really unsafe closing her eyes. So there's a lot going on there, but that's a whole other conversation.
And you know what, but the fact that she's talking to people and that she's making a start is amazing. And that's actually sometimes that's the biggest hurdle. What we do. I've got one lady.
She wants to heal, and that's the driving force.
I've got one lady that if she didn't come to see me, I don't think she'd be able to function, quite honestly. She runs her own business. She's a partner in a business. She's got a family. She's unhappy in her marriage. Everything, literally. There's not one part of her life that is not discordant in some way, shape or form. And I love it when she comes because she just feels amazing when she leaves.
Binda, any questions,
so
thoughts,
Binda, my
comments? We could talk for hours.
I know,
Diane
we could. And we do, actually, to be fair. We do. Any questions, Binda, my love? On sound?
Oh, you're on mute, darling.
You're on mute, my love. Any wheels?
So I just want to say, firstly, thank you to both of you, firstly for the invite, and in terms of I've learned so much.
Listen to it again as well. Listen to it again. Because you'll pick up different things.
I mean, where I sort of I think is invaluable, because we do lose sometimes. I was just thinking of a couple of people that I know that have suffered tinnitus. And it's because of that, not being able to focus away from what's going on and the stress levels going high. So, in terms of meditation, whichever way it's done, I think it's great that you're using those techniques, to be honest, because, like, as you say, medically, yes, we need to go to a doctor for certain things, but understanding how we can help ourselves through sound and what's going on around us is invaluable, and having the natural oils as an additional, because I don't know if you find the same, but during my menopausal symptoms, my taste buds have changed dramatically, but the sensual, the smell is really heightened. So I use a lot of incense sticks around the house. So you know, just but oils that definitely, you know, when you find the balance is right with what you're using, so I've learned so much.
Just be a little bit careful with incense sticks, because a lot of them do have toxins in them.
Yeah, they're not good for animals. I have to be very careful.
You have to be really careful with the ingredients. A lot of the shop bought ones, so just make sure if you're going to get an incense stick, do your research.
Yeah,
make sure it's
I bought
pure
one
incense
from
stick.
India actually.
Yeah. Or you can just burn like Jeanette and I do. You can burn
Sage.
the oils.
Yeah, or the
oils. I do both.
The other place I would say for incense, there is an amazing lady at the Eternal Lake in Cliffwoods.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, I am a massive fan. I went to this Eternal Lake in the summer for an exercise day, a day exercise retreat.
Yeah,
and it ended with an open air sound bath meditation.
Oh,
I was blown away.
Yeah.
Just suddenly, I want to be around this lady.
So
I want to be in her space.
Yeah.
That Eternal Lake is watch this space. That's all I can say at the minute.
The lady that owns the space there, the Purple Planet shop and cafe. The Purple Planet is a totally vegan cafe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my favourite colour as well, right? So
Yeah.
that's a play date if ever I've seen one, Jeanette.
Yeah. This lady does amazing meditations. I just did a 7-week course with her all about balancing the chakras. And this is where I learned about the book.
That. Are we still recording, by the way, or did you stop?
We are. No, we're still recording. But it is an amazing place. She does. I have got wax melts that she makes.
Oh, amazing.
That are all natural.
Yeah.
I have got a whole bowl of crystals that came away with this course, and really natural, or as close as natural incense that you can burn relating to the chakras, where you need to move the energy.
I've got candles for chakras that I put around my bar.
Yeah. It was, if you want to go somewhere where the stuff is natural,
go there.
She also makes herbal tea blends.
Nice.
That are blended to the chakras. So my favorite herbal tea she does is rose and hibiscus. It makes the most deep pink tea, but it is absolutely perfect for grounding and security. So root chakra.
Jeanette, we've got to have a 1-to-1 and a coffee over there. I'm sold already.
But yeah, Binda, your local Medway.
Yeah.
I know you're Medway, so you're not wrong.
Yeah.
I'm just the other side of Maidstone, so I'm not far at all.
Binda and I met at an NHS one-day conference on menopause aware. It was menopause awareness month, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we talked from then.
So we're not a million miles from each other then, because a lot of my family live in the Medway. Yeah.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the recording.
Stop recording,
Yes. So let's stop the recording. But for those of you, if my mouse will work, for those of you that were listening, we will get Diane to pop her details in the group, the Facebook group or the group chat relating to this event. Don't mind which, we can transfer them across. Any books that we're interested in, we can pop in there. And then if you've got any questions, we can do that too. So let me stop recording.